very much for being back. If you just joined us, it's still Enterprise in the morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our conversation for today. Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has taken her case to the Inter-Parliamentary Union, IPU, seeking international intervention over her suspension from the Senate. Mrs. Akpoti-Uduaghan addressed delegates at an IPU assembly held at the United Nations headquarters in New York on Tuesday, where she also raised allegations of sexual harassment against the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. The Senate suspended Mrs. Akpoti-Uduaghan for 6 months with effect from 6th of March 2025 after considering a report by the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, which was presented by Chairman Neda Imeswe. At the IPU meeting, Mrs. Akpoti-Uduaghan spoke emotionally about her experiences since the suspension. She said her fight was not just about her, but about Nigerian women in politics who continue to face systemic marginalization and harassment. The question is, how will this affect the reputation of Nigeria in the global sphere, and can this cost Godswill Akpabio our future political opportunities? Let's have a conversation now. I have with me still Innocent Adoloba. Thank you so very much, Innocent, for being here.
My pleasure to be here.
Yes. So let's get talking. And of course, one would have thought that Natasha would maybe learn one or two, as was expected from her colleagues. But it's taken a new turn. Every single day is a new page to this feud. Speak to me. Do you think this would in any way pass a negative perception on the Nigerian state? Then, if it happens, what would be the reaction, and how would it look like for Godswill Akpabio?
Well, these are not good news coming out of any country. It's a reputation damage for the hallowed chambers. Don't forget, we're in the season of the International Women's Day. The word accelerate action. So, I mean, that International Parliament of the UN, I think it's a women's gathering.
Yeah, I guess so.
So Natasha has brought a very delicious case to the table.
At the right time, actually.
You know. And so she will get a lot of ears to listen, lots of hugs to console. And in many quarters, like it or leave it, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan now is an Amazon. She's a model, a mentor for many people. In a male-dominated assembly, she has remained unbowed. She has refused to be shut down, and lots of people rallying around her at this time. It's a reputation damage for Nigeria at this time, for Nigeria's democracy at this time, for the Nigerian Senate at this time. But what impact it will have on the Senate President, you say?
Yes.
Godswill Akpabio, I doubt if it will have much. The Senate is stuck with their rules, and according to their rules, the Senate is, anything outside the Senate is sub judice. And even the Supreme Court has asked the Senate to put a halt on this case, even though it went ahead with its pronouncements. So it's in international politics, I would say that's a non-state actor.
Yeah.
So Nigeria is a state. This issue is not being tabled at the UN Security Council or the UN per se. So I will see this as a movement. In political science, this is more grouped as a pressure group activity, which may not have a direct impact on the government of the day. But like I stated, Natasha Uduaghan is driving her course very well. This may be the apogee, the height of where she can get. If there is another one in outer space, I trust she wouldn't be deterred to get there.
Very true. You called it a pressure group. The fact remains, the propaganda is one of the strongest, if amongst the strongest weapon people use against their adversaries, and Natasha has maybe used that to her advantage, because a couple of days now she would make appearance on CNN, on BBC, on Al Jazeera. Now these are legacy media stations. When whatever is heard in such media station, the reputation is avalanche, you know, to the people it is targeted at. Remember, Nigeria is trying to grasp, you know, maybe try to get a little bit of accolade from the international community, you know, given what it has faced in the past. Don't you think this, if stretched, if allowed to, you know, to blossom, might not really sound well for our image? Though you've stated it before, but don't you think this would further exacerbate the problem?
If the case is before the Supreme Court, I don't know where to stand. I don't know if it would be appropriate for Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan to go ahead to this media house, because she'll be put on the screen, she'll be asked direct questions, she'll be speaking to a global audience. Yeah. I don't now know if, well, I don't know what the law says in this situation, if the case is before a court, if it's worth being talked about to this large extent. So I don't know. I will commend Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan for her bravery, for being an Amazon at a time like this. But within the ambit of the law, I wouldn't know. And again, for the country we are, I don't think all of this, I cannot say specific if all of this will put the requisite pressure on Senate President Godswill Akpabio
to reconcile.
Reconciliation is inevitable, yeah, but to leave that seat is what I'm saying.
Well, who knows if the pressure amounts for so long, you know, just to save the reputation of the Harlow chamber. I would love to believe maybe there could be one or two advice from one or another to make that possible, but let's see how it goes though. According to Natasha, in her submission at the IPU, she equally stated that she is scared for her life right now, that it's possible that once she comes back home, she might be arrested. That was what she said. I do not know if that if that is permissible at this point. But let's take a look at you know, what is going on right now between Natasha and 10th Senate. Don't you think at this point this is a wake-up call for the National Assembly, the red chambers, to maybe try to look at some of the intentions of their members whenever they bring issues to the bear? Let them maybe take a better look, a lucid look on those issues, rather than just wave them as something they can always walk away from.
You know, democracy is not made in Nigeria. We are adapting an aspect of the democracy that works for Nigeria. And so if we make rules by ourselves, the rules should be open-ended and amenable and amendable. If I don't know why, or I don't enjoy hearing that someone cannot self-sign their petition in the Senate. If I am the aggrieved person, it's like a memo, a protest letter, a letter for leave, a letter for resignation, you know, as in signing is not the authorization, signing that it's written by me. I don't see why that shouldn't stand, you know.
Well, just asking for a reference.
And I'm coming. Yes. And if you see, all that has transpired in the Senate was in front of the camera with all senators present. But for the kind of politics we run here, short of being labeled to be a co-conspirator or taking sides, no senator signed her petition. She had to go get one from her constituent, you know. And in all of this tells you I don't know what word to use. You know, it could be capricious. It could smack of being counted as a proxy to a petition, you know, vendetta. You don't know where one could be blacklisted. So maybe the Senate needs to amend some of their rules. These things could be legal, but may not be moral, you know. That's the way I look at it. Natasha is on record to have been stripped of her security aids. She is a lawyer. If she fears an arrest, then I would ask, why does she fear she'll be arrested?
Because of the kind of country we live in, you know, all those things. You can't waive that.
I don't think so. She had been suspended. She went home. She was not arrested. Beyond her suspension at that day, has she done more things?
No, I'm speaking to the issue that she had, you know, presented at the IPU. She said that because of that singular presentation, that the possibility of her getting arrested when she comes back home is there.
So that means even her conscience, if she made those comments, even her conscience tells her she may have overflown her banks.
Which she has no choice but to do.
No choice. It's the will. It's the human will. The human will is about what you choose to do or not to do. So when you say she had no choice, would she have had a gun pointed to her head?
But isn't that influence? Because sometimes people don't just wake up in the morning and act haphazardly. They're usually conditioned by influence, external influence, like she has you know, been through. 109 senators, she's amongst them. 108 of them just against one person. Even the three other women that are part of the four that they have are all teaming up against one person. So it's more than enough external influence for her to do what she is doing now. So that is the fear.
And when you say she is nothing fear of arrest,
yes,
my premise was she was suspended here in Nigeria. There was no arrest threat. So if she operates within the ambit of expectations, I don't see where an arrest is imminent. But if there are those who can interpret the rules and say A, B, C, and why B should be A and all of that, but like I said, she is a lawyer, so she should know the limits and the excesses and draw a line and try to stay to the right side of the law.
Well, it is within her rights equally. Freedom of speech is not just something that it's domiciled in Nigeria. It's an international thing, and she has the right to speak her mind and not bullied by anyone, no matter even if the Senate asks her not to do that. But let's speak to other issues concerning this particular matter. Heads are about to get rolled right now. The chairman of the ethics committee, Neda Imosue, his constituency are hoping to recall him back because of that singular act of being the one instrumental in ensuring that Natasha is suspended. So don't you think that is a rolling ball that is possibly affect lots of people, starting from him, the Labour Party senator?
The Labour Party man, Neda Imosue,
yes,
is from Edo South. As good as, or arguably the most vibrant part of Edo, where you have the Benin City proper, you have the Ovia North, you have Ego, Owonde, you know, and all of that, going down Oselu, and all of that. So, he's in, but I think is he the chief whip?
No, I don't think so.
He's the head of the
yes, he's the chairman of the ethics
so
committee.
He may have just done what he needs to do
as the chairman.
Yes, because now the Senate are citing their rules and orders and all, and I don't think that Neda Imosue went beyond what was spelled out. That's why I'm saying that perhaps those things spelled out need to be amended.
Because, yes, because you talked about things spelled out there. The Senate are saying that the reason she is suspended is not actually because of the sexual harassment, but because of her disobedience and not respecting the ethics of seat allocation and all. But she is saying the Trojan horse to why she was suspended was because of the case of sexual harassment by Senator Godswill Akpabio. So two conflicting matters here.
You know, I'm even looking at this as an avoidable saga entirely. Because Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, a woman loved and admired by lots of Nigerians, is on record to have been prompted by the chief whip, Mongono, that following the defection of Senator Ned Nwoko of Delta State, there are new seats arrangements, and this is where she is now to sit. She can only speak from where she is allocated. Of course, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is on records in the media to have said that that seat arrangement was meant to demean her, you know. But that's where I'm coming from. There are rules, laws that may not be moral, but rules are rules. If those are the rules, and Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is not the first, I would say from my new position that this could have been avoided from the onset. She could have followed that. Then let's see what new allegation will be meted against, or if she will be refused the right to speak. Do you understand? But now that has happened the way it has happened. For the sexual harassment is where I'm wondering when that will be looked into, if at all it will ever be looked into.
Which is the crux of the matter here, according to her.
Yes, because now the Senate are on recess for 6 months. I think they're on break now.
They're on break, but not for 6 months.
I mean, Natasha is on suspension
for
6 months, and the Senate are on break. So within this time, I don't know when the people from the masses, the constituents from Edo South, can activate the instrumentalities of the National Assembly to recall Senator Neda Imasue. I don't know when. Again, all of this in the public space will also give the Senate and possibly the camp of Neda Imasue to, reinforce, re-strategize. What I'm surprised about is why the Senate went on break right after placing Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan on suspension, right after. But I don't even know if there is a break calendar for the Senate the whole year, or it is whenever they call Nigerians take it like that, you know. So again, we've heard a lot of commentaries. Senator Oluremi Tinubu, Nigeria's first lady of the moment, have said that the Senate did what they were supposed to do. So, and if we take that her comment, what would be the basis of recalling Senator Neda Imasue, who did what the Senate, as in his capacity as the chairman of the ethics committee, what would be his the basis for recalling a man who carried out the mandate of the House? What would be the basis for recalling such a man? You know.
Yeah.
So that as for the sexual harassment case, it remains to be seen when the Senate reconvenes, possibly when Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan serves her suspension, because she's also on record saying she will not take the apology option, that it's an attempt to silence her. So are we going to look through how long this drama plays out, or event will overtake this one?
All right, but just before I let you leave, let's talk about this issue with regards to, you said on your opening statement, this is the month for women, which of course is that month where International Women's Day was celebrated. One of the parliamentarians that actually graced a legacy media station in Nigeria did say in his outpost that women who want to vie for elections should carefully be tested for their intellectual strength or whatever it is that he was saying there. And lots of people, of course, came for him. But this is the mindset of men already in a society where gender equality is a big problem. Now, speak to me on this matter. Do you think the Natasha case would further worsen the possibility and opportunity of women having a stake in our democracy?
First of all, it is whoever says in public calling for a test or whatever of female mentality before they run for election is a chauvinist, because the women are running for the same election as the men, and nobody has called for tests for the female, you know. So that's a chauvinistic comment. Secondly, women's participation in elective political positions is the prerogative of the political parties from which they emerge. It's not the masses. It's the candidate a party presents that the masses vote for. So in 109 positions in the Senate, if we have 10 political parties in Nigeria, we would have had 1,090 aspirant candidates for the Senate. Now, for one seat, we will have a total of 109 aspirants if the parties were 10, because 10 times one, you know, I don't know the mathematics. So how many women do each, how many, okay, there is, let me use this, leave the Senate alone. There is August, there are 36 state governors.
Yes.
The leading parties are APC, PDP, Labour Party, NNPP, AD, and co and co and co. How many political parties fielded female gubernatorial candidates in this country in 2023? Zero.
Zero.
Except, okay, PDP for Adamawa.
Okay. Yes, very true.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is where you are to measure the semantics, the drama, the horse trading, concession, you know, that leads to the emergence of a female candidate. So in the same vein, there are females for the House of Rep. I think 309 or 300.
Yeah, 314, I guess.
Yes,
yeah.
And 109.
Yeah.
How many political parties have thrown up female? Because the female or male candidates are decided at the party primaries. Let's not put it as a Nigerian thing. Yes, of course, it happens in Nigeria. It's what the parties give us that we will vote for.
Maybe I think it's time we need to start campaigning for this. What do you call it? Individual participation or so.
Political participation.
No. Where one individual, you know, without a party, independent candidacy.
Okay.
Yes, and I think it's time we. Well, this is a developing
It exists.
issue.
It doesn't even need to be campaigned for. It's with the machineries of the powerful parties, alongside the electoral umpire, will allow any of those people emerge, because in Nigeria up till tomorrow, it's on record that no independent candidate has won an election. Do you know of any?
Well, do you even think the Constitution permits? I don't think the Constitution and the INEC rules. I don't think it permits for now independent candidates.
Because where I'm looking at, let me use certain people for instance. Let's look at Okonjo-Iweala. Let's look at Shehu Sani. Let's look at that man whose name we're thinking of, Adesina.
Yeah, Adesina, yes.
Let's look at even Peter Obi.
Yeah.
I'm talking of maybe, so to speak, popular political figures, Donald Duke.
Yeah.
Even Akinwumi Ambode, you know.
Exactly.
Let's look at some of those people emerging independently. It will be a big fight because, in quotes, of course, they will tell you elections are not conducted on social media. But we know when a candidate is popular or not, for real.
Yes.
So it will be a big battle for, even in Lagos here, I dare say, for an Akinwumi Ambode to be running against a Sanwo-Olu, possibly against a Gbadebo Vivo Roads and Jendor. if independently an Akinwumi Ambode ran right after his last tenure, Ogami, I cannot predict. It will be a photo finish. And in a photo finish in 100 meters, you cannot tell the way it's subject to review. You know, so that's where I'm saying that there are things that are moral, there are things that are legal. But within the latitude of this freedom, which of them, how much of them do we allow? When Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan was exiting the Senate, she was still speaking when her microphone was turned off. You know, so this topic refuses to go away. It will be argued along, it's bipolar, the topic is bipolar, and it will be argued along sentimental extremes. Yeah.
Very, very true. Of course, it's a developing story. We do not know how long this would last, but it remains a burning issue. And the reason we are a little bit more concerned about this is because of the right for women. We cannot neglect them, neither would we ignore them. Women are part of our system. They're part of our culture. In fact, they said that when you train a woman, you have trained a family. So there is no need for us not to talk about some of these issues. We might be, pandering here or pandering there, but the truth remains that women should be given the opportunity to be a woman, and that is the most important thing. Thank you so very much, Innocent Aduluba.
It's my pleasure
for being here. So people, that's just about the time we have for today. We'd love to say thank you for being part of it, but most importantly, making the picture complete. Please do well to visit us. You can always find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Ikwibike. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.